Watching an old comedy show, the other night, chums, it was funny because they brought on a comedian and he was doing jokes about that particular government on that particular era. This was the 1970s. And it was funny, because the jokes really, although the names had changed, the jokes remained the same, things being given away, people ripping off the great British public, the taxpayer, all of that sort of stuff. At that point, it was seen as mildly amusing because clearly, if you think about it, in the 70s, we did not have the access to what we now know, literally, with the governments around the world. Social media exposes all of their flaws, lies, cheating. Mentioned it many times, the fact that we have a business secretary that's openly lied in Parliament. I mean, he wasn't a solicitor. He gets to keep the job. You get the picture. But there's no bigger liar, some people suggest, than the current British Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Sir Keir Starmer. Let me explain. Morning, chums. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for your time. I like being able to bring you these stories because, if you don't know how the media works, it is really fascinating. And I would say the mainstream media is an absolute shambolic state right now. Over here in the United Kingdom, we had a breakfast TV show called Good Morning Britain, and on it was Yvette Cooper. Yvette Cooper is our current Home Secretary, British Home Secretary, absolutely doing a terrible job, absolutely useless in the position many people believe. When she first took to power, she abandoned the Rwanda plan and basically said she was going to smash the gangs. She couldn't smash open a boiled egg, that's the problem. But sitting alongside Susanna Reid on Good Morning Britain is Yvette Cooper's husband, Ed Balls. He wasn't allowed to interview her. Think about it. Here you have a presenter sitting alongside another presenter who's interviewing your wife and will go on his show but refuses to go on a rival show, GB News, because she knows the tough questions are coming. On Good Morning Britain, no such thing. You get the picture. But take a look at this particular video. This is the video put out by Downing Street Keir Starmer. And this is all to alert us just a couple of days before the local elections that apparently they are keeping, yes, the prescription charges under £10. Ooh, whoopee-doo, right? £10. Well, it doesn't really affect many people, you see. And also take a bigger look at this. What you're seeing is a very, very white video. Not very inclusive, is it, that Keir Starmer's always talking about? In fact, you only actually see, a person of colour very briefly towards the end. This is because they do not want to remind you of the fact that they're giving away billions of pounds literally to migrants, and this is not an attack. Let me explain. You see, when you come over here as a refugee, you don't pay for prescriptions. You get free dental care, free health care, free haircuts. You could just go on. There is no need for you to pay. It's taxpayers like myself and millions of others around the United Kingdom that are funding this. So basically they decided to keep this off the going up of costs of prescriptions if you needed them, until probably around the autumn time when they'll be forced because there's another black hole, and at that point they've realised they've lost very badly in the elections. But as I said, if you look at the way the mainstream media manipulate the situation, yes, nobody's pointed out the fact that really, if you were such a multicultural society, where is the mixed bag? Where are the Indians, the Sikhs, the Pakistanis? Where is everybody? But no, it's incredibly white. And don't miss this. There's Keir sitting there, shirt sleeves rolled up, white shirt, dark tie, man in action, solving problems. What do you think to this? And will this change the way that you think you may vote literally tomorrow? Because quite frankly, nobody else is buying this and he's been blasted already on social media. But I always like to know what you truly think. Does this convince you that this is a man looking out for the very best of British? Neil Shawn, Kensington, London.